The donkey's pouncing on my 3-year-old son. I actually think I'm watching him die or get seriously injured. I mean, I feel like I'm running in slow motion. It's intense. And get down there, full stride, don't stutter step or anything, plant my foot and kick the donkey right in the jaw.
Welcome to the MyPro Show. To the MyPro Show. Let's get MyPro Show. To the MyPro Show.
Can I pray to get us started?
Absolutely.
Dear Lord, I pray that you just go before us and that you just renew us and transform us into your image, and that ultimately that we're just a reflection of the goodness you've shown us and the mercy and grace that you've shown us, and that we can just reflect that to whoever listens to this, and that it can just be a blessing, or it can just give them direction in their life to ultimately find you or grow closer to you. And I thank you for Josh and his friendship and example that he lives out, and I pray that you just continue to bless him and give him favor and protection for his business and his family. And I pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. And that right there is the main reason why we're here together.
Yeah.
That was unexpected and very highly appreciated. So, as a reminder for everyone out there, the topics that we focus on is leadership and discipline. And, you know, the men and women that I'm blessed to get to speak with and communicate with on the MyPro Show, you know, all you guys and gals are in my life for a very specific reason that I believe. And you starting this thing out with a beautiful prayer is the foundation of why we know each other, right?
Right.
Because we align with our values and what's important to us. And without that common denominator, we wouldn't be walking through life together, and it gives it so much color and fun, you know? So, Mr. Jordan Godby with the Godby Insurance Agency, I would definitely call a very good friend. We've got a lot of work experience and relationship together, and we also have had some good personal and spiritual growth experiences together that, you know, I know has helped mold me into the man that I am, and definitely believe it does you as well. Otherwise, we wouldn't keep hanging out, you know? So, yeah, we're just going to kind of kick back and talk about leadership and discipline. And I really respect and admire you and the trail that you're blazing for others in your business and personal life. And so the first thing that I think is probably the most obvious to everyone is this nostalgic and majestic mustache that this man wears. So I've actually thought about that several times. Why don't you tell us the story about how that kind of started and now you're stuck with it in the discipline of having that amazing mustache?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, and I feel honored to come on. And, you know, you think you don't have much value to share with people, but I know that I do, and I appreciate coming to share those tidbits of what I've done to find success. So yeah, the mustache, you know, it's our brand now for Godby Insurance. My dad actually had a mustache, I think, when he was probably a sophomore or junior in high school. From that stage to when I was a little kid, I had a better mustache than me and my brother did.
Was it
big
like
old
curled
mustache.
up and everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was bigger, bolder, better.
Wow.
And then they actually started with Amway. If you're not familiar with Amway, it's a direct selling company that sells cleaning products. You kind of go and get your community and sell them, get them signed up so that they can sell. Some people would call it a pyramid scheme. So they did that and told him that he couldn't be successful with facial hair. So he shaved his mustache. So, you know, when, you know, kind of that's always stuck with me and sat with me that happened. And then, you know, kind of fast forward, me and my brother went to corporate America, had to wear the suit and the tie, be clean shaven every, you know, day, and, you know, make sure you're there exactly on time and do all these things. And it kind of, you know, sometimes it feels like that's robbing you of like your identity or, you know, authenticity of who you are. So, man, I actually got out. I grew a big old beard It kind of looked like a King Leonidas beard was coming to a point.
Nice.
And went to Floyd's barbershop. This guy had an awesome mustache. And I said, hey, can you do the same for me? And he did, cleaned it off, twirled it, made it look awesome. And then that's when it was born. And it's been about, man, probably 8 years now of me having a mustache. And so
That's what I was going to ask, is how long ago was that?
yeah, so it's been the brand now.
And you never would have thought.
Right. Oh,
You're like,
gosh,
hey,
yeah.
let's have some fun, put a little wax in it.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a short-term thing, but my wife loved it. It caught on. We've got swag and T-shirts that say we only do thick coverage.
Yeah,
People
baby.
love that. And then of course my brother has a great mustache too, and it's a lot of fun.
So I want to make sure I understood one word that you said very specifically is my wife loved it. Now, is that past tense or present?
It's present as well.
She still loves
She still loves it. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I've wondered about that, if, that top lip ever gets a little raw from smooching.
I don't know. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
But she still loves it. She actually didn't love it at first, but then she loved it. And so
Cool.
she's on board.
Well, it's fun. It has truly developed into y'all's logo and brand.
Right.
And, similar to my industry, your industry is very, the term convoluted keeps popping into my mind. It's probably not the right word, but it's just there's an insurance agency on every corner, just like contractors.
Yeah.
Right. And so just the whole brand of y'all's colors and the mustache and, how Texas rooted it is. And you just feel that with y'all's branding. You've done such an amazing job with that. And it really does make it fun and stand out from the crowd. And I really admire that about you. Y'all done such a great job with that. You know what you're getting into when you call the Godby boys, And I've really enjoyed everything you guys have done with me and my portfolio as well. So the mustache, logo, and that whole feel has come out. Tell me a couple stories how that has helped others remember you guys to call instead of you just being another insurance company, XYZ insurance company,
Yeah, my favorite's probably when people email me back and say, man, that's an awesome mustache. We're going to go with you. And
For real?
And I don't know if they're actually making a decision to go with me and based off the mustache, but they're having fun with it and it affirms their decision to do it. So that helps.
Yeah.
It's been rare. I would say, what I call referral partners, people like you and other professionals, they really do remember me when, we go to these places where we're trying to meet new people and grow our network. Man, it's hard to stick out because it's crowded with a lot of people, and they always remember me because of the mustache. And then Top Gun comes out, and they've got, mustaches again, and it kind of hypes it up. So there's these kind of funny events that happen that, hype up. You see everyone with mustaches and guys will give you neck bumps. And I actually had a kid at my church. I say a kid, he's probably young 20s. He said, hey man, that mustache is peak. And I was kind of taken back, like, I don't even know what that means. I feel old now, So it's definitely, I stick out in the crowd and, if we were playing Guess Who, I'd be picked first. So it definitely helps with people knowing who I am, remembering me, being able to go back, and follow up. They definitely always are like, oh yeah, you're the one with the mustache.
Yeah.
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 I love
that's
that.
great. That's kind of what I do with the hat, but I get the opportunity to take it off.
Yeah. Mine's on.
On. All the time.
I mean, my kids haven't seen me without a mustache. I love having it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I've had this shoot since college, probably. I've shaved it off a couple of times, and my wife is like, ew, grow that back. Yeah, it does kind of just become part of you. That's cool. Well, hey, let's keep rocking. So I actually didn't even know this for a little bit, but you and your brother are continuing the legacy of Godby Insurance Agency as a second generation. What an awesome cadence that is. And I'm sure you guys have added some new color, because I've never seen a picture of your mother with a nostalgic mustache, and I'm assuming that hasn't
She
happened.
actually has the best mustache.
She does?
Yeah, she just won't let it grow out. And my sister.
Your sister was part of the deal too.
Now, she's not a part of the deal, but she has the best mustache, I would say.
Okay.
Hopefully she listens to this and can show everybody.
I'm very curious about that.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, focusing on that leadership aspect of what you guys have done a great job with, and specifically where my mind is going with that is I know of a lot of businesses and or companies, whatever you want to call it, where the heirs of the originator of that company have taken over. And they come in and, kick their feet up, and I'm ready to collect a check. And, they think they're owed something, and they're going to ride on the coattails of their parents or predecessor, whatever that may be. And that is not what you guys have done. So,
yeah, and to give an ode to my mom, Sandra, she, started a great, company with Godby Insurance and did it the right way. I always say she's actually the best insurance agent in Texas because she cares so much about every single policy transaction, policy client. I mean, she cares almost too much. Sometimes we have to tell her, hey, you can't check this policy again before you bind it. We need to move on. The 30th time's good. She cares so much.
Yeah.
And she really
precious.
taught me how to write good coverage, and why we add these endorsements and do the things we do that no one's going to do if they go online and get a quote, or, if they go to someone who isn't as invested, they're not going to add those things because they're just trying to give you the cheapest policy out there. Right. So we're so thankful for the foundation she built and giving us an opportunity just to build that house on top of that foundation. And kind of the reason why is, I don't know, we are just grinders and hustlers. It's kind of silly, but I'll never forget our workout room in high school said hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And man, that has stuck with me. Like, I'm not prettier than you. I'm not smarter than you. I don't have some type of advantage over you, but I will outwork you and I will out hustle, the competition. And that's just deep inside of me, and kind of going back to being at a corporate place. Like, I don't need anybody to whip me and check on me to keep me in line to be successful. Like, I'm hard enough on myself to do that. And so I think it's just inside of me, to do that. And, it's, I don't know. I think it's just my natural tendency to hustle. And a funny story is my mom told one of our territory reps with one of our carriers way back when, oh, hey, my son's going to come on board and do insurance. And he goes, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. And, now we're good friends with him. He's actually one of our mentors. So it's fun to kind of reflect on that he's like, sure. I hear that all the time. Everybody wants to get an insurance and they never make it. Right. And part of it was her great foundation that we got to come on and build on top of.
That's another thing that I really respect about you, Jordan, is the acknowledgement, the sincere acknowledgement and appreciation for your mother and what she has done previously to, get Godby up and running, and how I know you and your brother Spencer take that very seriously. And I can see that it is a legacy growth, not just to sustain, but to grow. I can see it and how hard you guys do work, and really how more so on how that trait of her caring has been consistent with the way you guys handle everything as well. So that's awesome that you acknowledge that. Again, in this day and age, so many younger men and women want to just take all the credit, and they don't want to appreciate those that have helped the big picture happen. You know? And so that's something else and that right there is true leadership, right? So the difference between a boss and a leader, that right there is a perfect example. Like, we are doing this together, and it does take a lot of work. Typically, well, not typically, there always is a leader that's got that burning desire of just, outworking or hustling and determined above others. And that's great. Thankfully, everybody's not like that, or we wouldn't be able to grow organizations together. We just have a bunch of onesie twosies.
Yeah, I think we're going to get into it later of, how to be disciplined in those things, but this will be kind of a teaser in it. But one year, my goal was to not make any goals because I had so many goals and so many disciplines going on. My wife was like, how about you just try to not set any goals? Because I took the pendulum too far one way on that. But we can dig into that when it comes up. But another thing is I want to hit on is, me and my wife bought our first home around TCU's old, built in the 30s, been redone 8 times. Well, 2 months after we moved in, caught on fire. And we really don't know what happened. Bad fire. Basically a complete loss. I can't believe they didn't total it. But at that time, I wasn't doing insurance yet.
You didn't write your own policy, did you?
Right, I didn't. Thankfully, I didn't, because my mom did, and she wrote me a really good policy. So we went through a 9-month experience of replacing everything in our home, had to categorize and log everything. Like, we've got 40 hangers. We've got 30 spoons.
My gosh.
We've got a couch, every single thing. And I'll never forget the adjuster came in and said, did y'all just get married? And we're like, yeah, we did. And he goes, oh, I can tell you don't have anything. He said, just make sure, Grandpa's Rolex is not coming up missing and we'll be okay. Don't put anything in here that's not here, right? But man, I went through that. I had a really good coverage. I had a really good experience with that carrier. They restored that house to better than what it was. And that really gave me a desire and a passion to get into the industry I'm in now, to help people in that situation, because it's a tragedy. It's a crisis that they're going through. And oddly enough, that's my favorite part of my job. People call me, and I know that we stay in tune with our clients, and they know me, and they know my mustache, and it's great, but they don't know me like you know me. Like, they're not, hanging out with me and really knowing me on a deep level, but they still call me. When they get in a wreck and they're on the side of the road, they call me first. And I literally have to say, hey, call 911 and then call me back, right? And it's so neat that we get to be there for them in crisis, in tragedy, and provide that great policy for them so that they have that experience like I had.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a clear example that proves they trust your counsel.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the way I look at you with my real estate portfolio and things of that nature is, you're my insurance counsel. Even though I grew up in the insurance world with my dad being an agent, those are old school days, and I'm not plugged in.
Yeah.
I'm not plugged into that on a day-to-day. So I know the counsel that you give me is to the best of your ability, right?
Right.
And that it's not off the cuff, that you are fully engaged and constantly staying on top of what's new, how to communicate that properly, how to make sure that your book of business is buckled up right, Mm-hmm. So the part of that story that really stood out to me is, they're calling you first. So that means that you have achieved a master level of trust.
That's a cool inflection point to be at, because you're just helping people at a dark time, and you can be that ray of light for them and give them hope and pray for them, be there for them. And it starts with, one, writing a good policy for them. But on the other end, it's also having a great company culture where we have great employees, they're trained well, they know what we want on the policies, they're happy to be at work because we've created a good environment where they've got the flexibility to also do their life. And it kind of flows through to that end result is now you're getting to help a client, with what's going on. And I mean, it's so cool. It's so cool when that all, we're not perfect and things that are clunky, of course, but when it does happen all together and you can see that synergy and you're helping a client and it feels good, man, that's like the mountaintop for me.
That's the biggest payoff is when it all works. And you're speaking my love language there on the company culture thing. That is like my most passionate thing. As
I thought it was stone-coated steel.
I like that stuff.
Should we stop for a quick ad?
Yeah, man. You guys have pulled that off as well, better than most, is that whole company culture factor, right?
Yeah.
It's not as common as we would think it is because we've lived in a healthy company culture for quite a while because we were intentional on designing that and making sure that it is whole and consistent and that everyone within our organization is a champion of that. That's the first, that is the absolute deciding factor within our infrastructure if we're not a company culture match and we go over everything, right? And I do the cheesy 3-point stance about our, the pillars that hold us up and this and that, and all the way down to the very end, if it doesn't resonate and that doesn't make the hairs on the other individual's arms stand up, that's great. That doesn't mean you're a bad person and we're better or you're better or we're worse or anything. That just means we're just not on the same page, And part of both of our company cultures is to have a fun and encouraging work environment. However you word that is the way we word it and written in ours. But you guys do have a extremely fun and encouraging work environment. And I feel that anytime I talk to anybody. My favorite thing to do is to call your office. And, you always have to give your name before it's sent over. And I'll always say, Oral Horsheiser or, President Bush or something silly. And then I think I've done it enough times where whoever answers the phone will start just playing back with me.
Yeah.
And we'll have 4 or 5 sentences of just jacking with each other, right? And there's not a whole lot I can't call an 800 number and do that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, especially now with, ChatGPT and just the AI that's running wild, that's a helpful tool. Being a local trusted advisor or counsel is so much more important than it ever has been.
Yeah.
We went through a hiring phase recently, and I found some elite talent. Like, I found some people that were 1% talent, but they didn't fit the company culture.
Tell me about that.
They were all about money. I had a lady that all about money. First question she asked me, how much money am I going to make? And that's important. That's good. And that's how we eat and provide. But was a top red flag for me that, man, like, it's really not about money. And what's such a crazy thing is the less I make it about money and more about people, the more I make. Yeah. And it's wild. So I don't have misplaced worship in money, and it's just wild.
So I'm sure you've made this decision on more clarifying questions, but do you think possibly it was a communication issue that she had because I've found that with some people before, because you're exactly right. We work to make money, but some people lack the communication skills to explain why that's kind of top of their radar, or maybe that's a pain point. How do you overcome that whenever you're communicating with a lady like this that you're explaining, to kind of dig out, why are you so focused on that?
Yeah. I don't think I did a good job of that, in that hyper-focused conversation, but, I can't remember all the specific details, but, our main goal is to in hiring people and having people on our team is to find people that are stuck in the corporate mold.
Okay.
We call it the golden handcuffs. They're chained to their desk, right? Which is not a bad thing. A lot of people do that and are successful and great. And but we wanted more out of life. We wanted to be able to give people the same thing that we want, which is the ability to create an income that they want and have autonomy to go enjoy the things in their life that they love, which most of the time is family, right? I so want all my employees to go eat lunch with their kids at school. Like, man, I want them to do that. And not a lot of corporate companies will let you do that.
Right.
And so that's what we're really focused on, is finding those people that desire that and are not having that opportunity, but they're super talented, and, it kind of originates from my wife. She did an internship at Southwest Airlines. And if you want to ever see a good company culture, just go deep dive into what they do. What they did, when she was there, because I was working at a corporate company and she was there, and she was telling me what she was getting to do and how she was getting loved on and the time she had off, and she was flying everywhere. I'm stuck working weekends and late nights. And I was like, man, what's the difference here? Why is this, they're corporate companies. They just have a different culture.
I've heard they've got a good culture. They definitely disrupted the airline industry, starting off with, just taking all the super corporate feel out of it. There was more color and they'd crack jokes and
you can get 2 bags of peanuts.
Yeah. God forbid you want an extra bag of peanuts.
The MyPro Show is proudly sponsored by MyPro Construction, your local DFW commercial and residential specialty roofing and exterior construction experts. Visit myproconstruction.com to request your free inspection or call today at 972-5-ROOF-52 to schedule your free consultation today.
So in your personal life, I've noticed some changes in you recently. And when I say recently, you know, the last year or so, looks like you've been focusing a little bit more on your personal health. And walk me through that. Like what are some changes you're doing and why did that come about and all that good stuff? And specifically, how are you feeling that impact your leadership abilities?
Yeah, I talking about like routine of physical activity. Yeah.
You're thickening it up a little bit, not just your mustache.
Yeah, so I broke my foot in, I think, February of last year, and I guess 24.
And that's not when you kicked.
Is that when I kicked the donkey?
The donkey.
To save my son, yeah. We can dig into that. Yeah.
Oh, man. Entertaining value.
Yeah.
Give us the story real quick.
Yeah, so we bought a miniature donkey. His name was Pancake.
Pancake.
He was 150 pounds, 180 pounds, this wide, about this tall. He was sweet. He'd come on our porch and lay his head in your lap and hee-haw at us every morning. He was cool. He was a cool donkey. But, you know, he wasn't gilded or fixed. And so my 3-year-old was running down to go play on the trampoline. It's probably 30, 40 yards from our house because we have some land, so it's a little bit away from the house. And I think he spooked the donkey. The donkey was just down there, and they started to chase him. And I think, well, I didn't see it, but I think he spooked him, chased him, fell over on top of my son, Hank. And I heard him screaming. And I looked out the window, and all I could see was Hank's little Lightning McQueen Crocs that he had on underneath the donkey. And thankfully he was a miniature donkey, you know, he still was 160 pounds.
Your son's 3.
He's Hank's 40 pounds. So it's, you know, pretty serious situation. So I get out of the house. I don't even say anything. My wife was in there. I didn't even remember to tell her like, come on, or anything like that. And I bolt down there. I don't think I've ever ran as fast as in all my physical activity and achievements and everything. Like, I've never been as locked in as that.
You could have beat Bolt.
Yes, for sure. He wouldn't even been close. And just sprinting down there, the donkey's pouncing on my 3-year-old son. I actually think I'm watching him die or get seriously injured. I mean, I feel like I'm running in slow motion. It's intense. And get down there, full stride, don't stutter step or anything, plant my foot and kick the donkey right in the jaw.
Hard as you can.
Hard as I can. And I've never done anything or hit anything without having any remorse of, you know, letting up or anything like that, right? Like if you were to go punch a wall or whatever, punch your buddy in the arm, you're not going full force. Well,
right.
I didn't care, right? Because it was my son,
right?
You know, and it makes me emotional to think about it because it was intense. You know, you think you're watching him die or get really hurt and kick the donkey off. I try to chase him, but I can't because my foot's jacked up immediately, and I actually didn't break a bone in my foot at all. It just swelled up for about 2 weeks, and
I saw it. It was gnarly looking.
You did see it pretty soon. It was like purple.
Yeah. I met you at a realtor's office, and you were like, dude, look at this thing. I was like, holy moly, that's nasty.
Yeah. Hank was okay. He was cut up on his head and was, you know, traumatized from it. My wife was right behind me.
You saved his life.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was running fast. I looked behind me. My wife was behind me, running behind me.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mama got a jet speed.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of adrenaline and energy I had after everyone was cool and fine, it was unreal. I've never felt anything like that. Like it was just, you know, you're saving your kid, you know. So it was.
Man, that's heavy.
Yeah. So he's fine. It was on Saturday, and we got everyone cooled off and washed off, and we had a birthday party we were supposed to go to.
Good
and
night.
my wife was like, "We can't go." I was like, "No, we need to go because let's get our minds off. Let's get out of here."
Yeah.
And we went, and he played, and he was fine. You know, everything was fine. We recently got rid of Pancake, sold him off to a great ranch, and we got a puppy.
Okay.
So
little safer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that is not how you broke your foot.
Not how I broke my foot, but leads into, man, I was so thankful. And I actually told the guys that I've been working out with that I was thankful that I had been doing what I was doing to be physically able to go help my son and save him. You know, I mean, like, that was great. So broke my foot 2 years ago. I thought I would be like up and running or whatever, you know, maybe 2 months or 3 months after that.
And that was jump roping on another miniature donkey?
Yeah, I was jump roping, missed the landing.
Oh.
No, I actually was, I think what happened is I was digging a hole to plant a tree. I was wearing Hey Dudes.
Beautiful.
And I love Hey Dudes, but
Shorty shorts?
Shorty shorts, Hey Dudes, I think I had a mullet at the time too.
Beautiful.
And yeah, Hey Dudes are just not great shoes to dig a hole in. And that trauma from me hitting, I think, fractured. And I found out I had an extra bone in my foot. And yeah. And so I didn't believe the surgeon, got checked out another place. They're like, yep, you got an extra bone in your foot. And
an extra bone?
And they said I was born with it. And I said, do you think I got one in my other foot? And he goes, well, let's not find out. And so I don't know if I do or not.
Wow.
But basically they had to take the bone out in my arch and cut the tendon and then reattach the tendon. And
you were down for a while.
Yeah, I was down for a while. I called probably 2 months after and I was like, hey, when can I start running? And they're like, you're not even supposed to be walking yet. Like, what? You need to chill out, basically. And so that really set me back because you're not really able to do anything physically. So it's, it's hard to go through that, ramp up, get in a good spot. You feel like you're doing good, feeling you're like in a good spot. And then you have to stop for a while and lose that traction. And then you got to make sure you don't jump into it too quickly because you got to relearn how to walk. And, not that I couldn't walk, but just making sure that you are walking the right way so that you're not hurting yourself further. Right. Sure. So actually a friend, so fast forward in this year, February, a friend told me about F3. So look it up. It's a really good thing. I say it's like Camp Gladiator, but there's like 5 pillars of F3. It's about faith, it's fitness, and I can't remember the other 3 right now, but it's awesome. It's outside, it's dudes only. It's a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, running, body weight stuff.
Calisthenics.
Yeah. And so, I'm going 3 days a week, if not more, doing that. And it's given me a good balance of not injuring myself because I was lifting weights. Mm-hmm. I kept injuring myself trying to, I don't know, just being too prideful and trying to lift heavy weights.
Woke up.
Yeah.
I freaking tore my tendon doing that.
Yeah. So it's been a good balance, and it's all about Christ, and we pray together after it. And man, it's been a really good tribe to join and do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're getting all of it fed. You're exercising all the muscles.
Yeah.
Your body, your heart, your mind, your faith.
Yeah.
I find that to be very important. I also have that faith factor in my exercise regimen where I'm not in a group. I do it by myself, but I'm always either listening to the right kind of music or some kind of sermon or something, that's motivational.
Yeah. And the days I don't work out or do something or wake up early and just go on a walk or something, I can tell the difference. I don't have good energy, I don't have the endurance in my day. And
how many times had you heard that and never did it, and now you're finally doing it, and you're the guy saying it? You tracking with me?
Right, yeah. Yeah, it seems backwards, but
forever. So many people have told me for so long, because I've always been real active, but getting up super early and working out, I just wouldn't do it. Whatever excuse everybody's got them, because I was already getting up early and working late. Boy, doing that, to your point, it makes a huge difference on not just energy physically, but I can tell a major difference in my mental focus and capacity. And then where it really is important is after a long day of doing what we do in the business world, you got to go home and click on that emotional intelligence and realize that, okay, I'm not at work anymore. I need to focus on how my wife is feeling instead of what do we actually need to do, Anyways, that's actually helped me get more mental, emotional energy as well. do that exercising. You feel that?
Yeah.
That's cool. So that initiated you doing that. And how do you feel like 5 years ago before you were doing this and today how do you think that's affected you leading, not just in your company, but, you know, with your family and other organizations that you're part of?
Yeah. Well, 5 years ago, I was in the best shape of my life because COVID happened and there wasn't anything else to do but work out, right?
Really?
Yeah.
So you went the opposite of what everybody else did.
Yeah, went too intense on it. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. I think I'm able to get all my emotion and energy out in that realm, and you know, it helps me to be able to process everyone else's reactions a little bit better, and so it helps me be a better leader because I'm maybe in a better spot myself. I'm in more of a neutral, you know, spot because I've gotten my energy out and I feel good versus being tired or having some emotional, you know, let's say you have anxiety, you can't fight your mind with your mind. You can only fight your mind with your body, right? And so if you got anxiety and you go for a run, you feel better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's like true in us getting up and getting active it helps me be in a good spot.
There's a part of me that wants to preface what you're going to say by how it's impacted me as a beneficiary of a movement that you and your brother have done with Godby Insurance Agency. How you guys set up the Waco wakeboarding trip once a year. I'm curious about everything that went on in your head to set this up. So I'm going to stop talking. Why don't you tell us about it, why you're doing it, the specific movements in it, and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So, you know, we work with a lot of different professionals like yourself. We call them referral partners, and you know, they send us leads and trust us to, you know, provide their clients with good insurance and advise them. And so we want to like, you know, create an experience for them to enjoy. Because what we found is we've gone out on our own to build our own identity and be authentic and do it our own way, build our own culture, and that's great. But you don't have the community that a normal job would give you, right? With your coworkers and having those events there. So we have to create our own coworkers and friends. So we thought the best way to do that was to create an experience for people that they've never done and would enjoy and that we would love doing as well. So actually, I don't remember why we went down there, but me and Spencer, my brother and business partner, we went down there to do an ownership meeting, and we rented a hotel, and you can go down there.
Did you rent it there?
Yeah, you can stay
I
there.
haven't done that yet.
You can stay there, and people from all over the world come because it's one of, I think, 2 or 3 surf parks in the world or United States. So like we've met people from Brazil and all kinds of stuff in Waco, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're there, we're staying there. We just did an owner meeting, and kind of the same thing as what we're talking about is hunting. You're just getting away from the email and talking about what we want our company to look like and what we can change and how we can get better and all those things. And we went there and did you can do the cable park, which is wakeboarding around a circle. I think it's like maybe a half mile or quarter mile, you know, it's kind of like a track. And, but you can also actually surf. They have a wave pool essentially that creates waves.
It's legit. I've done it.
And then they have all kinds of stuff. So we did that, and I think we thought like, man, how cool would it be if we could bring a group of guys down here every year and just entertain them, love on them, and create that experience. So started building it out. We rent a Ford Transit van off of Turo and found a cool guy. He's a firefighter here that does that. And we rent it from him. And I think this is the 4th or 5th year we've done it.
Yeah.
And so we do that. We stop and get kolaches on the way at the check stop, which I actually found a different one. There's a little hole in the wall on the north side of the highway that's way better than the check stop.
Nice.
And a guy that went with us this year told us about it, so we stopped there and do that. We go get barbecue, and then we land at the wake park, you know, and man, some people don't, you know, wakeboard, but most people do. And man, we do that for, I think 3 or 4 hours.
Till we can't handle it.
Yeah. I mean, I go nonstop. I'm so sore for a couple of days after that.
Yeah, man.
But man, it's probably my favorite event that we do because it's fun. Everyone doesn't work because they don't have the ability to, which is great. So it provides them that space. And then they get to play and have fun and do something they've maybe never done before, or, we don't get to go wakeboard every day or do that. So it's pretty easy, for most people. There's
Except Brian Upchurch.
Except for Brian. We're all there to see Brian.
I look forward to that freaking dude every year. He's so crazy. With the hair and the beard and just the face plants nonstop.
You gotta let them know what you're talking about a little more.
So Brian Upchurch, here's a perfect benefit of him doing this is I met this guy, Brian Upchurch. He's a mortgage guy and great dude, got long curly hair, just a super long curly black beard, mustache.
He's got a really good mustache. He would actually
put
me to shame if he shaved his beard.
He does. And he waxes that sucker. And I mean, he's got just hair everywhere. He's like the hairiest dude I've ever met. And great personality, loves it. And he tries so hard every year at this wakeboarding. And when you grab that sucker and you're on your board and that cable's coming around and it grabs you, it yanks you out there.
Yeah.
And you really got to lean back and get ready to get it going. And man, God love the dude. He wrecks violently over and over, and he still gets up and tries and still gets up and tries. And when it looks like a fly getting just splatting somewhere because all the hair and the water just goes everywhere. It's so funny, man. And he'll come up and we keep motivating him to keep going, and he does, and he's pulled it off.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody, actually I know that for a fact, the group doesn't rejoice when anybody does it as much as we do when Brian Upchurch makes it happen.
Right.
It's like, he made the first turn. Like, he didn't even have to go all the way around. If he makes the first turn, we're like, Upchurch,
Yeah.
And then you just see an explosion of water and like, yep, there he went. It's so fun.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Man.
Keeps us coming back.
Yeah. I've got something that I think you've done intentionally that you're not speaking about.
Okay. What is it?
It's not an invite, hey, meet us out to Waco Surf. We're going to wakeboard. If you don't want to wakeboard, hang out in the lazy river or whatever the guys do that don't wakeboard. It's like, we're meeting over here. We're going to get in this van together. And I think you're smart enough that you did that on purpose, because that's a huge part of the experience is the ride there and back. It's not real long, hour and 45 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not long, but it's just long enough, and we're just close enough on the bench seats in the van, eating and laughing and wearing each other out,
Right.
that's precious time that we get to spend together instead of, all right, everybody meet us way out here. You wouldn't get the kind of activity if we had to individually meet out there.
Right.
Excuses are going to come up, but we can meet you in Fort Worth and park and get in this van, and you fill our bellies and you fill our minds and all that stuff so that we get there. And that really, like for me, that is equally part of the experience as the activity that we do when we get there.
Yeah.
Right? All the funny stories that we can go on and on about that probably wouldn't be too funny to the listeners because they aren't there. But everybody's got those kinds of stories that they remember of just an ongoing inside joke that's never going to end, or busting somebody up for something stupid they did or whatever, right?
Well, it's the guys that are there.
Yeah.
Too, because they're aligned with, what we're trying to accomplish as well.
On building the kingdom work through intentional discipline and leadership, man.
Yeah.
And it's a safe place. It feels like a safe place for me. I remember the first year that I went compared to the last year I went, felt very different, right? First time I got on that bus, I knew you and your brother, and I think that was it. And now I've gotten to know these guys over the years, And we've been to some ball games together, you know. I've actually hung out with a couple of them without you guys setting that up,
Yeah.
you know. And so the ripple effect of that intentional activity that you guys set up, it's so creative and awesome.
They're always looking to do that. And I think one thing like that I think kind of intertwines with all this is what allows us to do that is kind of how we structure our goal setting and disciplines. And it's really from Craig Couch. I met him. I had a kind of starting how I met him. I had a realtor, and I said, "Hey, how do you serve the Lord in the workplace?" And he's, gave me his answer. He's like, "Oh, you need to talk to this guy." So I talked to this lender. I said, "Hey, how do you serve the Lord in the workplace?" And his response was like, "You need to talk to Craig Couch." I was like, "All right, who's this Craig Couch guy?" Right. And so I meet Craig and I say, "Hey, how do you serve the Lord in the workplace?" And, I think he really enjoyed, like, that was my mission. Like, that was how I was on the hunt for that,
Yeah.
Because I was coming out of this corporate America, money, 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 and was on that pursuit of what does that look like. And then, Craig introduces the 4 Disciplines of Execution to me, which is a book. And so there's 4 key principles in there of how to set goals. And that's something that we use annually to review, where have we been and what did we do this year? What was great? What were our wins? What were our losses? And then what's, your WIG, your most wildly important goal that you're trying to accomplish? And then how are you going to have lead measures to accomplish that goal? And then are you going to have a scoreboard to track them? And then do you have accountability to do that? So we can dig more into that if we have time, but doing that, creating those lead measures that we track and we focus on gives us the capacity to do these creative things because it gives you freedom. So the more disciplined I am, the more I'm tracked, the more I'm checking these things, it actually frees me up to go do these fun creative things and take a day off to go hang with my buddies and do a Waco surf park. Because now, like you said, now they're all just buddies. They're not referral partners and realtors and lenders and accountants and things like that. They're really close friends that we're doing life with. But doing those disciplines and staying on track and focusing on those really helps me and gives me that freedom to take those times off to go to lunch with my kids because I know I've done everything I need to do that day to be successful.
Well, and you're aligned with your team. You're not just, hey, let's do better.
Yeah.
You are like, this is what we're doing. Everybody's on the same page. And so you don't have to be as involved, because that transparency is narrated and accepted throughout your culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of mentioned earlier, I did that for a couple years and, I was so disciplined in tracking my goals. And I was starting to get anxiety about hitting my goals that I created to do. Right. And there's, if I hit them, great. If not, it's still great. So one year I was like, all right, what am I going to do this year? And my wife's like, maybe you should try to not make a goal. Make that your goal is to not make a goal. And so I didn't lose any of the disciplines I had already had in place and was doing, but I actually tried. I was like, all right, this year I'm just not going to try not to make a goal because it was overwhelming me. So I think I found the other side of the pendulum where I was too focused on my goals and hitting those things and kind of got back to that, which is, I think, my natural tendency as just a, business owner and, someone who's going to hustle to find that. So I had to kind of reel it back a little bit on that.
So what does that look like today? You kind of find the happy median?
Yeah, I think just, like everything, we're holding everything loosely because we're just stewards of everything. Our talents and abilities that God has given us, if I can just focus on stewarding those versus owning them, that's the mind shift and transformation that brings me back, kind of, is my anchor point of my foundation.
And see, that right there is why I need men like you in my life, is to hear those words of wisdom. Because that freaking devil is the master manipulator, getting in your back pocket and creeping out and getting you just off center of that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why our relationship is super important to me, is to hear those words, to remember. The world doesn't tell us that.
Right.
The world says,
Just do it.
hey, you busted your ass.
Yeah.
You got this, you got that.
Yeah.
It's all you, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you outwardly discuss that you're a steward of those things and what are you going to do with it, that's very precious.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, a successful day is not one where you get all your tasks complete, but where you stay close to the Lord. And that gives me freedom. When I am overwhelmed by my goals and my tasks, man, I didn't get them all done today. There was no way to be able to. But did I stay close to the Lord today, you know? And hopefully it's yes. Some days it's no, right?
Sure.
Because we're all, you know, prone to wander and we're all lost sheep.
Absolutely.
But that helps me, you know, bring it back.
Well, if you're doing that, you're probably knocking out the tasks that are actually important. They might not be the ones that you think are important, but they're the ones that are really important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Every month I love having my desk calendar. It helps me clear my mind because I can put on my desk calendar and delete my email, which I know is the same thing, but it helps me. And every month at the beginning of the month, on the top of my calendar, I write, focus on the activity and let the Lord bless the results. I kind of mumbled that. Focus on the activity and let the Lord bless the results. And so for me, it gives me freedom. Like, I can't control who buys and who doesn't buy. All I can control is my activity, my lead measures, and then trust the Lord that He's my provider. He's going to provide my daily bread that I need. And man,
that is so
relieves that pressure.
Yeah.
Because that pressure makes you feel overwhelmed and makes you start making decisions that, you know, aren't on the right path.
We tend to push the needle super hard when things get, you know, dicey or tight or what have you, trying to hit those benchmarks or revenues down and
Yeah.
cost is up. It's easy to freak out about, man. It's hard to shut it off. That's the only way that I know to do it. Exactly what you said. You know, focus on the effort and let the Lord handle the results. That's the only way that we can shut it off. Otherwise, it's just going to keep circling in our heads, and then we're not going to be present with our families. We're not going to make time to improve our health.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, and you know, this morning me and my wife were doing a Devo together, and what I got from it is that if God's not the one sustaining you, then it's gonna eventually fail, no matter what, you know, because He's the only one that can.
Yep. That's good. Well, I appreciate you coming and making time. You're a busy man.
Yeah,
been
I appreciate
enjoyable.
being on here.
Yeah. We're going to put all of Jordan and Spencer Godby's information in the
Yeah, just Google mustache. You'll find us.
the Mustache Man.
We almost bought mustachebrothers.com. But it was expensive.
Yeah.
And nobody can spell mustache.
I can't.
Wednesday, mustache, Godby Insurance.
Yeah, it's so hard. Well, yeah, man, this was fun. We'll look forward to the future of helping each other grow and stay on track and focused and introducing each other to other people that are like-minded so that we can all grow in our leadership and discipline. Makes it fun. So
Appreciate it.
you bet. God bless you, brother.
Yeah, man.
See ya.
Likewise.